Let's get one thing clear before we begin. This video does not serve as a place to bash on any of the groups mentioned or any groups in general. That's not the intention of this video, as I personally don't hate any K-pop groups. So, as is my usual policy, I will be deleting any comments that I see being hateful or toxic. This includes comments towards idols, industry professionals, K-tubers, and other commenters. Everyone is allowed to have their own opinion. Let's just remember to be respectful while doing so. What's up, my little spirits? As some of you may know, back in late 2021, I ranked the previous 2 years worth of girl group comebacks. It was in response to something Everglow-Up had said in her one-sentence K-pop opinions video.
67. Fancy, Feel Special, La-Di-Da, and Psycho with the last exceptional title tracks in a girl group, adding Non-Stop to the list as well.
I thought that there was no way that only 5 songs over 2 years could be considered exceptional. Since then, I started working on ranking videos for all the K-pop comebacks in 2021 and 2022. The rankings are done, but when you have to edit 600 music videos into your project, it takes a while. It also doesn't help that my editing software keeps crashing, but that's a separate issue. Meanwhile, I didn't want to keep everyone waiting for ranking content, so I decided to look at more specific groups. What prompted me to do this? For those unaware, Blackpink, Twice, and Red Velvet make up what's known as the Holy Trinity of K-pop. For the longest time, I thought their best songs were Kill This Love, Feel Special, and Psycho, respectively. But when looking at the songs that should represent the entire third generation of girl groups, it felt like I was depriving the list of groups like Mamamoo, Oh My Girl, WJSN, GFriend, and of course, Dreamcatcher. To fix this, I asked my Twitter followers what they thought were the best title tracks released by third-gen girl groups. Aside from a few songs that I thought were missing, which I included, I was really happy with the results. Also, side tangent, thank you so much for 500 subscribers on this channel. Now that I have access to community posts, I can ask for input and feedback on the channel directly, and you guys don't need to be going to my Twitter. There will be a post asking the same question pertaining to third generation boy groups. Don't worry, we will get to the second and fourth generations in due time. I'm also putting in a quick break here just to let you all know that I'm putting in timestamps in the description and possibly the pinned comment if I remember, if you just want to go to me describing what I think the top 3 songs are, or go to the overall rankings that I made. I don't know how long this video is going to be exactly, so to save you all the time, you can just skip to the part that I know everyone wants to get to. Just a reminder though, 1, these are nominated songs by my subscribers and followers on Twitter, not my own personal picks for the top 50. 2, these are subjective opinions, and as always, they are subject to change. 3, if you're wondering why a song is ranked where it is, there's going to be a good chance that I'll discuss it or aspects of it during the bulk of the video. So I'd kindly ask that you watch the full thing before everyone spams the comments with, "How could you rank this song in this position? It's too high, it's too low, it's below this, it's above this." If everyone's just spamming that without actually hearing what the aspects I'm weighing are, then we're not really going to get anywhere. Also, feel free to let me know if you want to see more than just the 50 songs ranked in this video, and if you want an entire ranking video on all girl group title tracks from the third generation. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get that out, but if you guys want it, I will make that video happen. Okay, on to this video. Now, what do I look for when ranking songs? First, I think I should put out a disclaimer. I'm aware that all songs are produced by industry professionals. I'm not questioning their talent. I mainly look at whether or not I believe that a song takes advantage of its potential. and there are a few factors that go into that. Being self-produced is not one of them. Just because a group is involved in the writing and or production process of a song, that doesn't make it any better or worse than one where the group didn't contribute anything and everything was in the hands of professionals. Being self-produced is more like the icing on the cake. It's like bragging rights, more so than the recipe that actually makes the song good in the first place. Let's also discuss another factor that doesn't go into my analyses: lyricism. I believe that music is something that is to be experienced, and that experience doesn't always require spoken words. One of my favorite modern composers is Nick Murray. There are no lyrics in the majority of his works, and I'll link a few in the description. In spite of this, it's still able to move you and teleport you into a new world. So yeah, if I say something about a song you love and your first response is to say, I'm disregarding the lyrics or I don't understand how meaningful they are, we're simply operating on different criteria. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to give you guys the heads up so you can manage your expectations. Okay, on to what I actually look at. First, we have to determine what structure the song is going for. It can be maximalist or minimalist. They each come with their own advantages and disadvantages. Maximalist songs tend to be more exciting, but they run the risk of sounding like too much is going on. An example from my previous ranking video would be WJSN's Humph. This can be bad in that the instrumentation can overpower the vocals. We see this in songs like Secret, Mago, and the outro of Kill This Love. And it's not just overshadowing the vocals that can be seen as a problem. The chorus of Pepe just sounds like the entire production is too loud. And because it takes a few listens to adjust to how the compressors distort the audio in an attempt to keep things from sounding too sharp against the ears. This is why a lot of people are turned off by some of Red Velvet's title tracks, such as Feel My Rhythm, Birthday, and Zimzalabim. I personally love these songs, but I can understand why there's a significant chunk of the K-pop fandom that isn't as enamored with these tracks. Minimalist compositions feel more polished and refined, but their issue is potentially being too underwhelming and feeling like a bore. I'd say one of the biggest offenders from my last ranking video was La Bomb's Firework. We also experienced this with songs like I Wish and Stay. Rosé's solo Gone also struggles with this aspect. The beauty of minimalist music is that it grants liberties to the artist to really show off their vocal prowess. I think it goes without saying, Mamamoo is the best group at exemplifying this. Where Are We Now definitely does the most effective job in allowing them to demonstrate how great they are vocally because the instrumental isn't trying too hard. It's at least the best song out of any other on this list in exemplifying what I'm talking about. This aspect is also noticeable in Hip and Starry Night. Another example would be Red Velvet's Bad Boy. It makes use of the more laid-back instrumental arrangement. Since the song is calmer, the girls' ad-libs, runs, and harmonies are at the forefront of the piece. They really doubled down on the structure during Wendy's solo debut with ballads like When This Rain Stops, Best Friend, and the title track Like Water. It's not just belts that are strengthened. Shutdown having a more reserved production is perfect for Jennie and Lisa to display their rapping talents. You're the Best pulls off a similar feat as the layer simplifies during Moonbyul's rapping parts. This also works well in terms of transitions, but we'll talk about those later. Vocals aren't the only thing to stand out with minimalist versus maximalist song structures. As I mentioned earlier, maximalist songs tend to excite the audience easier. Not having too much going on can be a detriment, and heavy repetition can bore the listener, such as with the chorus of Closer taking over most of the song, while Shutdown becomes stagnant from looping through the same chord progression. Some songs are really great at making this less is more structure feel fulfilling, such as Time for Me, where the feel-good vibes really shine through the entire song. Or you could just add a little extra to help spice things up, like the background vocal chant in Pink Venom, and the extra kick and clap stems from the rap sections of Decalcomany. If you're looking for minimalist music that isn't boring, Bubblegum 4 is by far the best when it comes to this, in my opinion. While it's easier for me to discuss what I love about minimalist songs, I do have to show some appreciation for the maximalist songs that may have gone unnoticed. What Is Love has an amazing intro sequence that hits you with the same nostalgic and magical feelings of the winter holidays without coming off as straight up Christmas songs akin to Merry and Happy or The Best Thing I Ever Did. Speaking of intros, As If It's Your Last has this repeating progression as the song slowly increases in volume to adjust the listener to what they're about to experience. Meanwhile, Hip having a simple rap section accompanied by clap stems is easily digestible and can seamlessly transition into any type of section afterwards. Both You're the Best and Doo 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 have this amazing way of making the production feel like it's a part of the group. There are these bass lines in each of the songs that kind of just stroll along with the rhythm as if they have their own sense of swagger. Similarly, the kick and clap stems in the rap sections of Decalcomany spice things up so that these parts wouldn't sound lackluster compared to the powerful and emotional choruses. I love how Boca incorporates background vocals into the chorus during the instrumental breaks to let the production shine. You and I brilliantly integrate string stems into their transitions as a means of bridging the goth rock and metal inspired sounds together. And Psycho is in its own league. It tricks you into thinking it's a minimalist piece, but if you listen carefully, you can follow along with a different stem track and have a unique experience listening to the song every time. This is present throughout most of the group's discography, but not as apparent as in this song specifically. After deciding whether or not the foundation of a song is being used to its fullest, I then evaluate if the song is optimized in its entirety. As with everything else, this can be accomplished in multiple ways. One of the easiest to point out is whether or not the BPM choice was appropriate for the song. BPM stands for beats per minute. This is used to describe how quickly a song is played. It can also apply to other aspects outside of music. For example, heart rate is measured in BPM. It can be as low as 60 beats per minute, which is the same time as BTS's Boy With Love if you play it at half speed, or as high as 100 beats per minute, which is the same BPM as Blackpink's Kiss and Make Up at normal speed. This becomes important when breaking down why different generations of music appeal to different audiences. Even though the second and fourth generations have a lot of similarity in terms of the quote-unquote noise music that gets associated with them, how songs are constructed plays a huge role in the experience one has listening to them. Second gen songs tend to stay around the 130 BPM mark. That tends to be a lot more kinetic and propels you through the song. Fourth gen groups like staying closer to that 80 BPM mark, sometimes 160. That makes choruses feel longer and has a similar effect to making a high concentration solution. You feel the punch of the song more as it doesn't want you to move on from the highlights as quickly. That tangent was to try and explain why picking the right BPM is essential in creating the perfect tone for a song. Time for Me does this beautifully in that it eases you through the song. It's as if the song takes your hand and guides you through the world of serenity. Rough didn't choose as wisely. Its moderate tempo makes the song feel like a sprint. Instead of being able to enjoy the surroundings being the very stems of the song, you feel like your hand is tangled within the chain that's attached to the back of a car and it's speeding down the road completely oblivious to the fact that you're there. BPM isn't the only way that a song can be optimized though. Songs such as Fancy and As If It's Your Last incorporate background vocals so that it never feels like there are any voids of wasted space. And the times where vocals aren't present feel intentionally left there. Lovesick Girls creates a wave pattern of starting calmly, ramping up, and then smoothly crashing into the next section. This oscillating motion never makes it feel as if there's a gap. A song with a break that still works would be What Is Love. Between the beginning and the third pre-chorus, there are no breaks. The verses start immediately after the choruses, and you're never allowed to feel bored. There is a major shift though in the bridge, but that's pretty understandable because that's the part of a song where everyone is conditioned to anticipate that a shift would be happening anyways. An even more apparent break that manages to create a more impactful song comes between the pre-chorus and the chorus of Feel Special. Allowing Momo and Chui's vocals to dissipate first really allows Sana and Gio's vocals to feel more impactful as they bring you into the hook of the song. And for the best example of a song that doesn't waste any potential, we have As You Wish. You feel every second being utilized as best as possible. On the converse, it's just as easy to stumble and fall. Lovesick Girls does have one trouble spot, and it's at the very end. Instead of a gradual and controlled conclusion like the credits of a drive-in movie, it's like you were speeding to see the last few minutes of the film and slammed on your brakes. A similar issue happens in the pre-chorus of Starry Night, where the sudden decrease in energy and speed can be a bit jarring. And a quick disclaimer, I am not personally a fan of anti-drops, where the choruses are minimal in comparison to the pre-chorus or the build-up. Having such an exciting build-up in the pre-chorus just for an underwhelming instrumental just feels so wasteful to me, and the momentum completely flatlines. How You Like That is the number one example of a song on this list where I take away points essentially because of this aspect. Transitions are also important in maintaining momentum. You and I feels like there's a gap between the pre-chorus and the chorus that should be closed, whereas I Can't Stop Me doesn't have a gap, but it still doesn't feel like there's a proper build up to the hook of the song. Pop songs are made to be easily digestible, hence why groups with a lot of changes get a lot of flack, such as the NCT subunits. Most G-Friend songs are pretty good about this, but Time for the Moon Night can take you aback on the first couple of listens. And key changes are even more startling, such as with Deco Komani or Pink Venom. At least the former is switching into the chorus where it excites the audience. The sudden shift in chord progressions leading into Pink Venom's pre-chorus are only further hindered by the melody feeling like it's trying to stop itself. The vocals keep ending on a down note and it feels ridden of energy. Other examples of songs where I think the transitions are weak include I Wish, leading into the second pre-chorus and from the rap verse into the bridge, Pepe from the bridge into the rap section, Closer where the chorus to the verses has the sudden stop that just throws me off, and Because. Dami's rap section in this song feels a little forced and just becomes totally out of place once the song transitions into the latter half of the second verse. Transitions are essential to a song being enjoyable to listen to. I can't stress enough how much I appreciate songs that implement creative ways of changing from one section to the next. As mentioned earlier, You're the Best has a great way of handling transitions. Moonbyul's rap sections are pretty minimalistic in structure. Rap vocals aren't typically married to a specific key or chord progression. The key of a song dictates what notes are used in playing the song and in what order the notes should be played. Most songs are uniform and have a single key throughout. Shifts in key can be too shocking and dissociate the listener from the song. Feel My Rhythm is one of those songs that's a perfect example of a well-placed key change. The song doesn't change keys until the final chorus. This gives the song more impact and elevates it above the rest. While we're talking about Feel My Rhythm, I love the transitions within the track. They almost feel like the beginnings and endings of acts in a play. The switches between sections are almost more reminiscent of brief intermissions as opposed to lengthy breaks you'd experience with a TV series that airs new episodes on a weekly basis. And that key change indicates the final number in this musical. Let's go over some other examples of great transitions. Save Me, Save You goes from the pre-chorus to the chorus by filling in the otherwise empty space with some simple kick stems. Since the chorus is relatively calm, this reserved structure works as an over-the-top chorus would contrast the transition too much. You're the Best does something similar in using a clap riser stem combo throughout the song. These are great as they ready the audience for a shift in sound with the build-up. Both Oh My Mistake and Kill This Love use the opposite approach. At the end of Kill This Love's second chorus, there's a wind down sound effect that's like a machine whirring to a stop. In Oh My Mistake, the first chorus descends into the second verse in a manner similar to the chord progressions you might see in songs like Dua Lipa's Good in Bed or Upsoul's People I Don't Like. Boca is like You're the Best in that Dami's rap section in the first verse introduces tonal shifts. This song knew how to incorporate a rap section and unlock its full potential to make the entire song better than it would have been otherwise. Unnatural is able to coast through the pre-choruses without feeling jarring. There's a massive shift in tone halfway through that doesn't feel out of place. And Come See Me has a great build-up to the first note of the chorus begins as the last syllable of the pre-chorus is being said. This is really impactful and has you already amped up as the hook of the song starts. Something that infringes on how well optimized a song is would be issues with the melody. Remember, I'm not commenting on the lyrics themselves. The melody and phrasing of a song refer to how the lyrics are sung. And sometimes it just doesn't flow as smoothly as one would like. Examples of songs where I felt like the melody wasn't as smooth as maybe I would prefer personally would include Yeon's rap section in Helicopter, or at least the beginning of the song, the entire second verse of Pink Venom, which is shared between both Jennie and Lisa, and for more specifics, I think I can get my point across better with a couple of other songs. In Unnatural, the build-up for the second half of the pre-chorus feels as if the words are tripping over each other, and in Kill This Love, the gap in Rosé's bridge interrupts all momentum. I would have personally changed the lyrics to We all commit tonight to love that makes you cry, as opposed to We all commit to love, space, that makes you cry, just to ease over the entire section and omit that awkward pause that's always thrown me off. But a melody can also be used to uplift a song. My favorite example in this would be what I call the wave. This is easiest to see in TXT's song 9 3/4. Taeyeon's voice just surfs atop the song in the chorus, and I think this beautiful delivery style is matched in Sunrise. The final thing that I look at is how unique is a song. Things such as creative utilization of stems or having a distinct tone from other songs really help a track stand out. Let's talk about tone first. Some songs have the ability to transport you into another world, similar to Closer, but they go above and beyond in doing so. They remain true to themselves throughout the composition. Sunrise invokes feelings of golden age Disney films. There's a timelessness to this piece, and the key change in the finale really elevates the entire song. You can also have a more mature tone. Get It does this with its girl crush aesthetic better than most songs from this generation and the other ones as well. A lot of girl crush music will either A, try to be too in your face where they go more into girl boss territory, or B, it will be a little more underwhelming and not take advantage of what could be a really provocative and interesting concept by default. Get It stays in this zone similar to some CLC songs such as No and Black Dress. And of course, discussing tone would not be the same without Dreamcatcher. Vision is one of Dreamcatcher's best in this field. As a kid that grew up on Evanescence, this song perfectly encapsulates the haunting beauty of darkness. I think some people were opposed to the track after being conditioned into liking Dreamcatcher's more EDM-inspired songs and not recognizing the various subgenres of rock music. Speaking of rock, Scream masterfully pulls off this balancing act between the softness and the hardness that the genre can evoke. The successors of Dreamcatcher have yet to perfect this. Purple Kiss tends to lack that gritty, smash your guitar over the stage kind of oomph. Meanwhile, Pink Fantasy's intensity can get a little out of hand and take over. If you want another example of a song that toes the line between the two, Pixies' Wings is one of the best examples. We actually get something similar in Kill This Love, with the louder choruses contrasted by the quieter pre-choruses. And finally, we have to talk about Because. Most of the stems pop in and out and keep you on edge, while the slower bass line adds to the creepiness and leaves the suspense in the air. It's a haunted house galore with piano notes reminiscent of holiday horror specials. This song isn't so much to traumatize you as it just wants to play a prank by scaring the living daylights out of you. To look at creativity and what gives a song its particular flair, there are so many aspects we can look at. One is simply line delivery. I've mentioned melody and phrasing, and while that's important, emoting can really bring a song to the next level. In Boca, Jiu and Sua's vocals blend together to convey this sense of urgency and panic in the bridge. Finally, adding in some sounds that aren't conventionally found in the music of one's peers can really make an impact on how memorable a song is. I think the incorporation of classic stems is the most apparent way of looking at this. From Chopin's Funeral March in Deja Vu to Paganini's La Campanella in Shutdown, these timeless pieces being reimagined into contemporary tracks really helps the songs stand out. Yes, it's starting to feel like the industry is exhausting the novelty of it, but as someone that was raised classically trained on the piano, I love seeing these songs repurposed, especially because they bored me so much as a kid. And I cannot talk about this aspect without discussing the queen of classical stems being Feel My Rhythm. I absolutely love how Mera described the integration of Bach's air on the G string as perfume. Unlike Momoland's Freeze, this song takes its sample and essentially reinvents the wheel. It's just a spritz of the original song to elevate the production instead of being the sole driving force behind its effectiveness. We also see the same happening in Birthday. Returning to qualities that make songs unique, Pink Venom brings in a dark twist to the otherwise mild discography of Blackpink by revisiting the chants from the beginning during the final sequences of the song. Unfortunately, their discography can feel pretty uniform at times, and I know Fifth Harmony got a lot of flack being called Fifth Unison during their X Factor days. That title sometimes feels a bit more fitting to Blackpink and their Teddy-formulated production, so having these moments of creativity helps the tracks in standing out and distinguishing themselves from each other. Butterfly has this little allegro end piece to some of the lines in the chorus that feels like the perfect soundtrack to a butterfly fluttering through a field. Zimzalabim makes you feel like you're listening to a marching band pass by with a number of unique percussion instruments that decorate the background. And in the same vein, Helicopter blends sirens, pads, and FX stems that make it feel like you're at the airport. There's a mechanical ambiance to the song that imitates a helicopter taking off from the launch pad and flying into action. Secret takes advantage of the variety of sounds popularized during the disco era, including sort of this retro gaming feel, and there's just so much untapped potential in the retro concepts. This is why songs like Russian Roulette are so iconic. Vision also takes advantage of these more classical sounds with an empty arena electric guitar solo. I tend to notice these particular chords to be incorporated in the music that involves space exploration, such as Rihanna's 2016 song Sledgehammer. And I really want to point out something that I don't think is an obvious aspect of production, and I really couldn't figure out where else this should go in the video. In Vision, they take this extremely unique approach to Dami's rap verse. Most of her raps are like a punch in the face that you gladly accept. And no, I could not think of a better way of phrasing that, and it does not sound any better out loud than it did on paper. But in Vision, they drown her voice in reverb. Dreamcatcher is known for taking inspiration from various rock genres, such as classical, punk, and metal, but the goth rock inspiration of Vision, it can be a bit tricky. A lot of vocalists, such as Sharon Danadell of Within Temptation, thrive in this genre as their airy voices blend well with it. Dami's timbre doesn't naturally have this quality to the same extent of her groupmates. Normally, I hate overly edited vocals, but this effect softens the huskiness of her voice and lets her blend in better with the tone of the song. And I talk about Dreamcatcher a lot with this aspect, but Mamamoo's earlier discography also stands strong in distinguishing itself from its peers. Genres such as R&B, jazz, funk, and soul find themselves at the forefront and allow the members to express themselves vocally. I love how oh, ah, yeah, the production feels like a fifth member that's jamming out and enjoying itself throughout the track. Okay, and with that, I have described my criteria. To recap, first we look at whether a song is maximalist or minimalist and whether or not it takes advantage of its particular structure. Then we see if the song uses every second to its full potential. And finally, we give points to creativity where it's deserved. I don't have an actual point system per se, I basically just weigh how well the aspects are handled, and if some aren't handled as well as others, how much does it detract from the overall song and listening experience? But now I think it's time to discuss what I personally think are the holy trinity of third generation girl group songs. So, full disclosure, this song is why I asked for suggestions from you guys in the first place. I already knew one of the songs that I was going to end up including in the top 3, and I definitely knew which song was going to top this list. But I didn't know which song would join them in rounding out the top 3. And from the moment I heard this, I knew it would be that song. This track immediately sets us up for what's to come by mixing a piano solo with electric guitar riffs. It's going to be balancing elements to form a musical eclipse. It's funky and quirky as it weaves in and out of compositions. It takes you through multiple sections, almost as if you're going on a journey with the members. The only time it really slows down is for the bridge, where we re-energize ourselves to Yuju's amazing vocals. It's like a moment of recollection where we have to focus and complete our journey with our spirits reignited from the last push into the final chorus. In a similar manner to how anime theme songs need to get a lot of mileage out of only 1 to 2 minutes of time, this song has chapters and doesn't let you feel like there are any moments that don't fulfill their potential. It basically has 3 intro sequences between the more delicate piano solo, the hip-hop oriented instrumental meant for the dance break, and then the first time that we hear the chorus. It's like going to a food sampling event where each taste is as amazing as the last, and they prepare you for the full course that's to come. You'll be hard-pressed to find another song like this outside of G-Friend's discography. Psycho was my most listened to song of both 2021 and 2022, and I've gone on record to say that I believed that Feel My Rhythm was Red Velvet's best produced song. So if neither of them made it into the top 3, you have to understand how much personal bias I had to put aside when making this list. Red Flavor takes simplicity is best to the next level. You can feel through the production that the primary focus of the song was just to have fun. For the most part, it's mainly just a bunch of pad, FX, and kick stems, with a few things sprinkled on top to bring the piece together. Nothing too complicated. And it really lets you enjoy the song because of that. Whereas Me Gustas 2 takes a couple of sections to get into the chorus, Red Flavor just immediately jumps into a stripped down version of its own chorus. Also, the auto-tuned background vocals don't come off as annoying. I struggle with this when it comes to songs like Wrap Me in Plastic by Momoland, but similar to Feel Special by Twice, the song only adds a dash of this ingredient to the recipe as to not overpower everything else. It's delegated to only serving as an enhancement and not the staple of the chorus. They also take advantage of Red Velvet's vocal abilities. If the chorus just repeated itself with no modifications, the song would probably rank much lower and not even be in the top 3. But something seen in SM Entertainment's groups such as Red Velvet, Girls' Generation, FX, etc. is the incorporation of ad-libs to spice up their later choruses. This keeps things from feeling stagnant compared to other songs where they just copy and paste things without anything to keep things fresh. In that regard, you can really see how this track was originally intended for Little Mix, and I would really like to thank whoever facilitated it becoming Red Velvet's. And our top song, to absolutely nobody's surprise, is Deja Vu. Let's all pretend to be shocked by this for a moment. This is the magnum opus of all girl group releases, and that's not just pertaining to the third generation. I don't think that anything I've heard amongst the first, second, or fourth generations have been able to rival this song in how excellent it is. I know that in my last ranking video it came up second behind Psycho, but after reevaluating all the songs on this list, I believe that it truly deserves to be in the number 1 position. I feel like the song speaks for itself in terms of how amazing it is, so much so that I'm probably going to struggle describing its brilliance. But let me at least make an attempt. Similar to a lot of rock pieces, Deja Vu takes advantage of the beauty behind pianos and electric guitars. The opening sequence starts off sweet, and it slowly deepens and incorporates notes to hint at darker themes and tones that will be dispersed throughout the song. This focus on the piano solo continues until the second half of the first pre-chorus. Here's when things start to ramp up. If you know me, you know how much I love orchestral pieces. Orchestral compositions are synonymous with one word: stakes. We've been conditioned to associate the use of string instrumentals with times in media that reflect moments such as the climax of a film, an epiphany within a character before they unlock their true potential, or the departure of someone that was a critical element in the plot. The reckless integration of such compositions can be detrimental to how one conveys the proper emotions of a piece. This song uses them perfectly in alerting the audience to a shift in tone from the enigmatic first verse to the triumphant first chorus. Getting to the chorus itself, I am a massive sucker for choir stems. The way they're softly folded into the production of the chorus elevates the grandiousness of this masterpiece. On top of that, the drums are being performed as eighth notes. For those unfamiliar with music theory or have never played an instrument, we have what's known as common time, usually indicated at the beginning of a musical piece with either a capital letter C or the fraction 4/4. This represents that there are 4 beats in one measure, and each quarter note, so 1/4, is worth 1 beat. So if sheet music instructs the player to perform using eighth notes, they're basically playing at double the time. Deja Vu only has a BPM of 90. For reference, that's the same as songs like Stray Kids' Maniac, aespa's Black Mamba, and New Jeans' Attention. Most people probably wouldn't consider these to be fast-paced songs compared to the ones around 120 to 140. But by having the drums played at twice the speed, essentially making them 180 BPM, it gives a sensation of kinetic energy and motion. It makes the song not feel like it's dragging you along. I also have to talk about the vocals. The members do an amazing job of emoting the feelings of unknowingness, panic, and hope throughout the song. It truly wouldn't have come together to be this amazing if it weren't for them. The outro takes inspiration from Chopin's Funeral March. It really solidifies the finale of the song as the conclusion. It may be more somber, but it still doesn't feel empty and hopeless. You don't get that sense of despair. I am still in shock to this day that Dreamcatcher didn't manage to win any music show awards with this song. Its excellence may not have been given the recognition it deserves by the industry, but that won't stop it from continuing to be a favorite amongst the fans, even those that aren't Insomnia. So yeah, those are my thoughts on what I look for in a song when ranking it, as well as what I believe are the top 3 best songs in this particular grouping. Let me know if you want to see a full ranking video on all of the title tracks amongst third generation girl groups. I won't go in depth as I did in this one. It'll probably just be the clips of the songs in ranking order. But yeah, let me know if you want that to happen. It won't be anytime soon, but if you guys want it, I will make it happen. And please don't forget to go to the community post and comment for the boy group version. Again, we're just looking for title tracks from third generation boy groups. This can include subunits. But with that, let me leave you with the final rankings for now. Peace out.
I bring the pain like this, that pink venom, this, that pink venom, this, that pink venom. Get him, get him, get him. Ha, how you like that? You gon' like that, da 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 da. Just tell me why. 걷기만 걷고 싶은 그대와. Tell me why. Let's kill this love. Yeah, 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 yeah. 널 건들고 흔들어 네 맘 없이. 한 걸음 closer 내 맘 closer to you. 너와 나 입을 맞춰 I feel good. 너에게 너를 맡겨. 아직 아니야 아니야 숨겨둔 네 맘이야. 시간을 봐 지금 날 흔들리지 않을 테니. Every night 별이 빛나는 밤 네가 왜 울어와. We do the work. Hit you with that do-do-do-do. Oh yeah, oh yeah. When we pull up you know it's a shutdown. 간판 내리고 문 잠궈 shutdown. We are the lovesick girls. 네 맘대로 내 사랑을 끝낼 순 없어. 미처 말하지 못했어. 다만 너를 좋아했어. 어린 날의 꿈처럼 마치 기적처럼. 어두운 밤이 날 가두기 전에 내 곁을 떠나지 마. 아직 날 사랑하니 내 맘과 같다면 오늘은 떠나지 마. I'm not sure. No, really, really